So, as I mentioned in my other recent video, I need to joint these together to make the legs for my chess table. And there's a variety of different ways you can do this. The expensive way is with a domino tool, which is something that Festool makes, which is technically a floating tenon type of joint, which I've got an older video actually for the nightstand that I was doing like this, where I tried to do that with a router. So that's one approach, because I'm not going to spend $1,200 on a Festool domino tool, plus the dominoes to go into it. I could just joint them together, which would probably be fine, but I don't want to rely on that. I'd like to have something in there. I could also glue it and then cut straight through here and drop a tenon in that way. That's not really a tenon, sorry. That's a spline. I could run a spline through there too. But what I'd like to do is dowels. Dowels are tricky because your alignment has to be absolutely precise. Because you're just running a little wooden pin. You all know what a dowel looks like. Just got a little wooden pin that's going to go in here, but if you're off right or left, then your pieces are going to be off right or left. And if you're off front to back, then your pieces are going to be off front to back. And if you're off diagonally, then your pieces aren't going to join straight. So that's why dowels are tough, because you need to be really precise with your alignment, which I'm going to try and do. And I have this Miles Craft dowel jig that I've only used like once, so I don't remember everything about using it, so I'm going to have to do by the instructions again. But I'm going to give that a try. If that fails, then I'm going to go with the splines. I'll cut through here, and I'll get a contrasting color like walnut probably, or the Purple Heart even. That's the other choice. You can either use the same color, so I could go with another piece of cherry, or you can go with a contrasting color. So if you want to try and hide it, you go with cherry and try and make it fade into the color you've already got, or you can let it pop as a decorative piece and go with a contrasting color, which I'll cross that bridge if I come to it. Let's get started on this. Now, fortunately, the way that these are going together is I can do 90 degrees like that, right? So 90 degrees to each of these faces is going to work. So that's very helpful. And my template wasn't quite perfect. So there's a little bit of variance there between the length of this and the length of this. I'm going to match to the lower ones like that, so I get the best arc in there, and then I can just trim this down to fit, like either on the bandsaw or maybe shave it down with a hand plane or something. But we're going to index off this lower joint here. I guess this is what you get for getting an inexpensive wood vise. But the cylinders that these rods go through seem to, I don't know if this is the same one that fell out before or a different one, but it has popped out. So we are going to pop it on back in. Oh my. It just, wow. So is it in through there? All right, there's an opening for it right there. Yeah, so it just slides in there, and it should press fit into there. Get my little brass mallet, tap that into place. The little brass one, because I think that's the only one I have that'll fit in that space. Okay, good enough. At some point, I'm going to rebuild this and just use all the hardware and cut new wood for it. But, you know, that's down the road. So one of the issues you run into with a vise like this, if you go to clamp, say I go to clamp this piece in here, so let me do it on the other side so you'll be able to see it better. As I go to clamp this piece down here, this is called racking. You can see this whole piece is kinking to the side and it doesn't hold that very well. There are a variety of anti-racking things you can do, but I made this basically a little set of shims, just drops right in there. Then I put my wood in over here. This is the piece I was working on first. And this is roughly the same thickness as this, and it holds it nice and tight, prevents the racking. Sweet. All right, let's get the instruction manual. So I'm going to be making butt joints. And it said follow instructions 1 through 9 for the corner joints, and then get onto the butt joints. So line your boards in the finished position and mark them 1 and 2. Yeah, all right. Here's 1. Here's 2. Clamp board 1 with the edge joint facing up. Insert the proper size drill bit into the appropriate joint mate bushing. Select the stop collar that corresponds with the selected dowel size. Slide the stop collar down the shank of the drill. Oh, right. So we're going to go with the smallest one. We're going to go with the 1/4 inch. So that goes in here. And we want the 1/4 inch stop collar. And we need the Allen wrench here. So this will stop the drill from going too deep into the wood piece. So you can kind of eyeball this. I don't think I have to be super precise for this particular project, although you might want to be. But you want to be roughly half the depth of the dowel. I can always cut the dowels down to size if I need to as well. Well, those are marking pins. Interesting. So these should be 1/4 inch dowels, right? 3/16 and 5/8. 5/8 is bigger than 1/4. 3/16 is smaller than 1/4. Do I not have 1/4 inch dowels? What are my other 2 size options? I know this is probably really boring. Board thickness, dowel. Oh, it's right there. 3/8, 5/16, and 1/4. 3/16, 5/8. Get 3/8. 3/8. 6/25. 5/16. 5/16 is really big though. All right, we'll go with the 5/16. Nope. Okay, it's the middle size. Because I have 5/16 dowels in my little bin here. See, I've got a bin of dowels that aren't the dowels that came with the doweling jig, but I've already used all of those. It's a little bit bigger than I think I'd want to go with, but hey, we can make it work. Five sixteenths by 1 3/16. So we want this to be a little over 1/2 inch deep. Gonna eyeball that. If it's a little deeper than the dowel, that's fine. If it's too shallow, well, you can always drill a hole a little deeper when it comes to it. You find out it's a little too shallow. All right. Now we've got the drill bit and the lock collar. Holding the joint mate upside down, position it over the board so the self-centering posts straddle the board's edge. Rotate until the self-centering posts are pushed firmly up against the side of the board at the desired location for the first dowel pin. All right, so what you do is you put it upside down like this. Going with this one. And you twist it like this. And that gives you dead center this way in the board. But this, you still got to do by eye. So I want to measure that out, mark it down. While I'm at it, I'm going to need a drill at some point. Getting in the camera here. All right. Triangle. We want to make these exactly the same. So how about we go 1 inch and 3 inch? There's 1 inch and 3 inch. It's 1 inch and 3 inch. Okay. And then, right, so when I lock this on, I'm going to this one, 5/16. So when I lock this on like this, that should give me, yep, I can see my line down there. And this should be giving me dead center. I doubt this pencil. Can this pencil fit down through? Oh, just barely. That's perfect. And then I'll have to come over like this to do this one over here. Uh-oh. Think. Oh, this is going to be tricky, but I can do it. I can just about do it. All right. Drill bit. I mean, I'm still kind of eyeballing my center point there. So this is the one we're using. I have it this way. No, it would have to be this way. Okay. Yeah, we can just about lock onto that. Okay, so let's drill our second hole here. If this distance, like here, was any shorter, I don't think this tool would work. All right. Starting at one end of your board, firmly holding your joint mate. Insert the drill bit, drill your first hole, move the joint mate. Place the proper dowel pin in each hole without glue. Look at that. Beauty, eh? Attach the guide fence to the joint mate using the fence knobs. This is the guide fence. The fence knobs are in here. Right. So this goes in there. This goes on there. And this piece goes towards this side of the tool, pretty obviously, because you've got a gap there. So that's the only way it could go on. Okay. Oh. With the guide fence properly installed, place the appropriate guide bushing over any one of the dowels on the edge of the board. Adjust the guide fence until it rests square to the face of the board, and tighten the knobs. Okay. So this is giving me my dimension this way. Clean this up a little bit. Okay, that's all the way through step 9. So now we skip over to making edge joints. Unclamp board number 1. Keep board 1 facing up in the same direction after unclamping. Place board 2 even with the parallel with the doweled board with the side to be drilled facing up in the same direction as 1. Right. So we just want to, I've already marked these like that, so I know which faces are going to be facing. So we can mark this, since I drilled this way. I can just mark this as the guide side. That way I won't forget. Starting at one end of the board using the appropriate dowel alignment slot, position the joint mate over the installed dowel pin with the guide fence rimming. Now I'm getting confused. Oh, you can do surface joints? Oh, that looks cool. Oh, that's like corner joints partway through. Unclamp board 1. Keeping board 1 facing up. Why don't they tell you to use these alignment pins? I mean, that's what they're there for. Right? Grab the medium-sized ones. You get 2 big, 2 small, and 2 medium. Right? So you should just be able to slot these in here. line these up, right? Give it a little whack. And that should mark your drill position, your joint positions. I mean, I'm assuming that's how that works. It's how it looks like it should work. Well, shit. I dropped one of them. The other one don't want to come out. And of course, they're aluminum, so I can't grab it with a magnet. I have to get down and crawl under there. Anyway, right? And so what if I measure the same distance up, right? So this should be at 1 inch. Which it is, and that's at 3 inches. It's dead on 1 inch. That's slightly above 3 inches. So we go 1 inch and 3 inch. I should now be able to take this, position this right over that opening, and that should get me what I need, right? Oh, I see what they're doing. I see. So what they're saying is, right, so unclamp board 1, keeping board 1 facing up in the same direction after unclamping. Place board 2 parallel with the doweled board, with the side to be drilled facing in the same direction as board 1. Right, so what they're saying is you put these like this, and then you put this over that one. Oh, there's a gap there. See it? So that is going to slot in there to get you this alignment. And then you've got this to get the depth alignment. So these both need to be drilled on the same side. So this needs to go and get clamped in like this. Oh, hell, this is going to be a pain in the ass to clamp. And also, see, here's the problem with this. Theoretically, this is dead center. Theoretically. So I need to have both of these facing the same way, which in this case is going to be this way, because this is giving me my depth measurement, and then this is going to give me my right-left measurement. But the problem is I've completely swapped ends now, because we're aligning from this bottom end here. And that's not going to line up. right? Because I would have to be doing it like this. But the guide needs to go against this side. Okay. I think if I do it like this, so the guide faces out here, but now the guide faces out here, and that way I can keep the bottom aligned. All right, this should work. This famous last words should work. Let me get the anti-racking thingamajiggy in here. And we're going to line these up like that. And of course, you want this top side to stay flush. Sorry, I just bumped my mic there. Right, and you need that top side to stay flush, because if you don't, then this isn't going to be square in that way. All right. So you put a dowel pin in there. You grab the appropriate pin size, slot this in over that, and that holds that from doing any wiggle-magiggy. That's a woodworking term, by the way, wiggle-magiggy. All right, let's try it. It is a little time-consuming, not going to lie. Although I suppose if you've done it a few times, you'd pick up on it. All right. See how close we are. And the holes aren't deep enough. I don't know if I have any shorter ones of the same thickness. Do I? Yes, I do. Do I? Do I? All right. Pop that in there. Pop that in there. Drum roll, please. Wow, that is pretty damn close. I don't know if you can, let's see if we can see that. This is perfect. That's exactly where I wanted that. Right and left feels pretty good. I don't know if you can see that. Hey, look at that. We did it. We did the dowels. We should have some kind of celebration. All right, I'm going to do the other side, and then we're going to figure out how to clamp this fucking bastard together.